Hi everyone, welcome back to the CASPA navigation series with Power Up the PA Life Community. Today we're going to go over one of the heftier sections of CASPA, which is the supporting information section. So let's dive right in. The first section is the evaluation section. This is where you will be requesting your recommendation letters from anyone who can vouch for you, such as your clinical work supervisors, MDs, DOs, PAs, NPs, RNs, professors, and on and on. There is a minimum of 3 letters needed and a maximum of only 5. The evaluators, or people who you request a letter to, are responsible for submitting the recommendation letter themselves. Letters should be written with official letterheads and signed by them as well. Once a request has been completed, meaning the individual has submitted a letter for you, you cannot change or delete the request. You can only delete or edit the request in certain statuses, such as the requested status or the accepted status of your evaluation. So definitely keep this in mind when choosing who can successfully vouch for you and write positively about you. To create an evaluation request, you're just going to click right here, and it will prompt you to fill out all of this information. You will need the evaluator's full name and email, and provide a due date. This due date is when you want the letter to be submitted and completed by them. Once you scroll down, you will also waive your right to access the evaluation and give permission to have your evaluators contacted by CASPA or the program. Once that's done, you can head back and add up to 5 requests. The next section is the experiences section. This part took me the longest out of all of them because you really want to perfect your job experiences and job responsibilities and put them under the correct category. I highly recommend visiting the CASPA Help Center since they provide explanations of what, for example, healthcare experiences versus what patient care experiences. It is different for each program. For example, work as a CNA or medical assistant is actually not considered patient care experience with CASPA's own definition. While I disagree, I chose to research what my specific programs went by when I was applying. There are programs that do see CNA or medical assistant work as direct patient care experience and some programs that do not. So it's very important to make sure you put your work experience under the correct categories, since its hours can be counted differently for each program, respective to the categories. I'm actually going to go over a few of my own experiences from the different categories for you to have an example of. Let's go over the first one, which is shadowing. You will put in all the basic information, but I do want to showcase the description. I wrote, my time spent shadowing the neurology PA consisted of observing the consultations of both new and follow-up patients that routine the office. I observed first-hand interactions between the PA and patients in a clinical setting, observing how to make a thorough patient history, review of systems, going over test results, and following up on medications, all while still coordinating with the physician. I was able to learn about neurological tests and pathology that were common in this specialty, such as carotid Dopplers, EEGs, balance tests, meningiomas, TIAs, tinnitus, and types of seizures. You want to make sure that you write what you were doing at your time, either when you were shadowing, working, or volunteering. Save and continue. The next one is patient care experience. I worked as a phlebotomist. You will write your title right here. My job duties working at Jana Healthcare consisted of performing routine venipuncture on both new and follow-up patients, getting finger sticks for diabetic patients, conducting EKGs to monitor those suspected of any heart complications, and administer COVID-19 nasal swab tests. My duties expanded to training and overlooking new lab staff, along with prepping patient rooms for cosmetic aesthetics procedures as well. I have become familiar with diagnosis and billing codes used and help additional providers that sit at our clinics, such as podiatry, pain management, and nutrition. So again, you do not want to have like a generic description. You really want to incorporate your job responsibilities and what you did. Let's look at a different section, healthcare experience versus patient care. During my time at NYU Langone Brooklyn branch as an emergency department volunteer, as well as a care volunteer on different floors of the hospital, I spent time with patients one on one to provide care and support to ill patients, such as providing food and warm blankets. When designated to specific patients on a floor, I would spend an hour or two sitting with a patient as a companion to listen to their thoughts and feelings. When patients were triaged in the ED, I would transport them to their designated rooms or areas within parts of the hospital. I also trained new volunteers. So that's something more healthcare related versus patient care related. Now let's go for volunteer work with the Red Cross. I took part in monthly fire alarm installation shifts, visiting residents in all 5 boroughs who needed fire detectors and educated them on the importance of fire safety. We now do online shifts to promote this event. I also led workshops and campaign events to spread information about this organization to the public and how we are available to aid people at all sorts of disasters. During the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, I was able to take part in the Healthcare Heroes Initiative, going to different hospitals and distributing bags of supplies and food to those working on the front line. That's something for volunteer work that you can type. Let's do maybe one last one. I was an intern. At South Beach, I was a fieldwork intern in the outpatient center with patients suffering from severe schizophrenia for my psychopathology seminar class. I led weekly community morning meetings and co-led therapeutic activity sessions with clients at the facility, such as anger management bingo, poem writing sessions, or social skills training. This was done to help patients engage in healthy social skills and coping behaviors during their visit to the facility. So again, it is very important to describe what you had done with your experiences and not just a generic description of the job. This is just some of what you would be writing. You would have the dates and category and the location. The achievement section is pretty easygoing. You'll input your professional or academic achievements, any publications you may have, scholarships, etc., etc. At the time, I only opted to put these two. Next, you have your licenses and certifications to input. There are programs out there that require, for example, a BLS certification, and hence you can see mine right here. Always research your program to make sure you will obtain the correct certification. For me, while I did have to get BLS certified, it could only be through the AHA, which is the American Heart Association. So be cognizant of these kinds of details for each program. In the next section, you have your essay. I had written mine on a Google Doc, and with the help of Sarah Schultz from the PA Life, I was very confident in my essay. And you just basically copy paste and review the paragraph spacing and make sure it's within 5,000 characters and just continue. The last section is memberships. When I was applying, I really don't remember having any memberships I was part of. Only recently, after being accepted to my school, I joined the AAPA as a student member. So if you have that while you're applying to CASPA, you would just input that information right here. That is basically it for the third information section, and I hope that helped.